welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. And this week's episode is a little bit different to the other podcasts that I've shared because it's actually a recording of an Instagram live that I did recently. And it was such a great live discussion with the lovely Bailey that I really wanted to bring it in to my podcast because the topics we cover about movement and mental health after having weight loss surgery, I think are going to be so valuable for so many people, really no matter what stage you are in your bariatric journey. So I have brought this, it's a live recording, and some of the audio may be a little bit patchy at some points, but I still think it was really worth bringing it in to my podcast. I really hope you enjoy the lovely chat I have with Bailey. And if you want to follow Bailey, please check out her Instagram, where to find her on Instagram in the show notes. Hope you really enjoy this podcast.
Welcome to the Bariatric Nutrition Coach podcast, where we empower you with weight loss surgery, nutrition knowledge, mindset advice, and inspiration so you succeed in your weight and health journey. I'm your host, Jane Stoltz, and I am a bariatric dietitian who has helped over 1,300 people on their weight loss surgery journeys. I'm also a solo mum, lover of long walks while listening to podcasts, partial to a glass of wine, and the ocean is my happy place. Join me as I dive deep into bariatric nutrition and lifestyle topics and deliver them to you in bite-sized, palatable episodes every Monday. Now let's go. Hello everyone. I have a wonderful guest that I am going to be bringing on right now, and her name is Bailey, and we're going to be talking all about movement and mental health. So welcome, Bailey. I would love you to introduce yourself to people that don't know you.
Yeah, thank you. And I would just like to say too that I think it's so cool that we are on opposite sides of the world, different time zones, but we're able to be here and connect and talk. So I love it. I had VSG in 2020. And for me, I called it like a total lifestyle reset. I took it as my time to really evaluate what was important to me, like taking time for my health and exercise, and just really taking the time to look at everything and what I was putting my time and energy into and see if that was something that I wanted to take forward. And so I've lost about 100 pounds. I fluctuate. I've gone up a little bit. And so, but that is kind of the overview of my weight loss journey. So that was 4.5 years ago. And it took me about 2 years to lose the 100. And then I've been maintaining and kind of working continuously since then.
Beautiful. I'm really thrilled you said fluctuate because it's really normal to fluctuate. And it's often people think they get to that maintenance period and it's just going to stay exactly where it is, and it doesn't. And I really love when you've been working on it since then. And your Instagram shows that. I'm going to share in a minute. At some point, I've got a couple of posts. The words, the images as well. You've got a very engaging Instagram, but the words, I was like, yes, yes. And in Australia, we'd say we're on the same page. We've got the same, yeah. Look, I do have lots of US clients. And so I know most of the times our sayings are similar and you understand, but if I ever say anything you don't understand, just Aussies also are used to shortening words, but I don't do too much yet. And there was this quote that you did that really I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember it accurate enough. The stat below blew my mind. Regular exercise can be as effective as antidepressants in treating mild to moderate depression. And I talk so much about moving the body, and I talk about it as movement. Most of the time, don't use the word exercise, but people can, because moving the body can look different for different people. And often pre-surgery, people are moving their body to burn calories. And after surgery, for me, you're going to expend some energy, but it's about mental health and keeping on your lean body mass and all of those wonderful things. But I would love to start by asking, what was movement like for you before surgery, before you had your bariatric surgery?
So I have my weight has fluctuated my whole life. I've played sports. I have always enjoyed movement in some form, whether it was working out in the gym or walking or something like that. But it was limited, right? I didn't have I'm a tennis player, so I couldn't play tennis for as long as I wanted, say, or something like that. I just and when I gain weight, then I'd move away from movement. And if I'd lose weight, it was like you said, to burn calories. It was never something that I went into like, I'm going to do this to change my mindset today. It was like, I have to do this
Mm,
to burn calories because of what I ate, or
mm.
something like that.
Yeah, and many clients and patients that I've worked with then associate movement with it's not enjoyment, it can be a bit of punishment,
Mhm.
and there's that negative connection. Because when you have bariatric surgery and you lose a significant amount of weight, it's easier to move your body and it's more enjoyable. What is movement? Yeah, I'd love to hear what movement looks like for you now, or even over the journey, and how it supports your journey, because that's really what we want to talk about, that connection, and not just from the body, but the body and the mind are connected.
Yeah. I would say right after surgery, I was walking every day. Obviously, very early post-op, it was less, but as time went on, I just continued walking and I'd walk faster or longer. I would kind of
Mm,
keep building on
mm,
what I had been doing. And I just love it. Even today, over 4.5 years out, I still love it. I love being outside
mm,
and being able to notice little things.
mm,
I love nature.
mm.
I like the sun. I mean, all of it. Like, I went for a walk today and I knew we were going to be talking about this. And so I was thinking, even still today, the absolute joy that I get
Mm,
from getting outside and moving.
mm,
And I like to listen to books or podcasts or music, but sometimes I don't listen to anything. And I just walk and I just listen to what's going on around me. And I feel so happy afterwards. It
mm.
has nothing to do with how many calories my watch said that I burned on
Yes.
this walk. It's just about getting out there and moving. I find I have like more creative thoughts when I'm
Yes.
moving
Yeah.
and walking. Like, it's so many things. It's not
Yeah.
just calories.
Totally, I am the same. And we're going to get to obviously other forms of movement, but I do love, yes, walking, I think, is a bit not underrated, but we forget how amazing it is from a health perspective. People think they should be jogging or they should be doing really high intensity. And for a lot of people, that's not needed or where your body capacity is.
Hmm.
Walking is cheap, you only need a good pair of shoes,
Yeah.
and nature is relaxing. So I totally love that. It's that even if you're looking at nature, you're kind of still processing things that are going on for you. And the lovely thing is as you lose more weight, it becomes easier and more enjoyable. And also, we don't have to go for an hour walk. You can go for a 20-minute walk. Yeah, so I'm totally on the same page with that. So lovely, you walk. What other activity do you do?
I love to play pickleball. That's
I saw
something
that.
that,
Yes,
yeah,
that's come to Australia.
yeah. Is it
So
big?
it's not big yet. The courts are quite a bit smaller than tennis courts, aren't they? So
Yeah.
it's definitely going to take off because there's less kind of land needed. Some of
Hmm.
the tennis clubs here are putting the pickleball courts next to their tennis courts, and they're kind of
Yeah.
included in the club. I haven't played. It looks great fun.
Yeah.
Where the word pickle name came from.
The creator of pickleball had a dog named Pickle, and so he called it pickleball.
Okay, okay. This is And so yes, we've got it. So yeah, pickleball, and I saw you
Mhm.
playing with yeah. So yeah, lovely. I interrupted you.
I'll just do a quick plug for it right now.
Yeah.
I grew up playing tennis. I love tennis. I've always
Mm,
loved it.
mm.
I had someone say many years ago, "Hey, if you play tennis, you should try pickleball." And I was like, kind of like stuck my nose in the air to that. Like, what
Yeah.
the heck is that? I thought like old people
Yeah.
played. And so I ended up telling my parents about it. They got into it. Then I got into it. And now we're able to all play as a family. And it is, you basically play on half of a tennis court. And so anybody can play. You don't have to move as much as a full tennis court. And it's something about like the smaller court, I think, is just more fun. Like people are just fun and they
You're a
will
bit
bring
closer.
music.
You're a bit closer
Yes.
as well. Yes.
Yes, and it's kind of has that like ping pong or table tennis thing where it's really fast moving the ball. I don't know. It just, I love it. So
Yeah.
that's something that I've been into. I don't play super regularly, but when I do play, I love it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. When I'm talking with my clients about increasing activity and movement in their life, I always say to them, do you like moving your body by yourself? Because some people do. That you can go for a walk, you can process, you could do that. You can do things like yoga and kind of solo things. But other people are very much like, really love, there's a lovely, if you like doing activity with people, it is lovely because you get that community. And when you say and you laugh and you have the relieving of stress, and you just mentioned two ways of moving your body that have got kind of advantages and could suit different people, but can suit the same person. But I just, yeah, because team sports can be really wonderful. Yeah, so keep, you do other things. I know you do
Yeah,
other things.
I had never thought about that, but yeah, that's a great point. I think I enjoy both for different reasons. Sometimes it's social, but also I like doing things on my own too, to be able to think and process and not have to worry about anybody else. So I like that. Yeah.
Yes, and swimming is another, sorry, just
Yeah.
swimming is another one. Some people are like, I just want to be on, when I'm doing that, I want to be on my own. And that's just how people are. So, yeah,
Yeah.
swimming. Good. Yeah,
And
good.
another thing is like weightlifting and strength training.
Yes.
I have found that my body has changed the most in how it looks
Mm,
with consistent strength training. And so that has been something I've I've tried different programs, I worked with trainers, I have tried a lot of different things,
mm,
and I learned something from all of it and
mm.
take away from each program or trainer.
Yes.
And that has been, I've noticed the most changes with that, I would say.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. And that is kind of linking to the research around where activity movement is really pivotal and been shown to be really pivotal in weight maintenance after bariatric surgery. And part of it is also keeping on your lean body mass, your muscle. So we can build some, yes, but that is, your muscle is anabolic tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Adipose tissue doesn't do a lot. It's storage.
Yeah.
So wonderful. So that's because for me, it's around helping mental health, sleep, stress relief, all of that, and the muscle. And so, yes, you do that and you like that, obviously, feeling strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. And what else do you do, Bailey? Because you do lots of things.
I do. I like everything. I like anything outside. So if I can be outside, I'm happy. I like to swim. I have
Yes.
a mountain bike. I have rollerblades, and I kind of just go whatever I'm feeling. It's the easiest for me to walk because, like you said, all I need is a pair of shoes and I can
Mm.
just take off. But I have a rower that I can do indoors
Yes.
as well. And so for me, it's just been having different options. And if it's late and dark and I can't go out, then I want to have something that I can
Mm.
do inside. And so I have some weights at home. I have my rower. I have a walking pad so I can do something at home. And then if it's a nice day, I will go out for a walk and just walk until time permits or until I can't walk anymore. And then
Yes.
that's it. Or, like I said, the rollerblades, I was inspired by someone else who I saw on rollerblades and I was like, I need to do that. So went out and got a pair of those. And that's what I love about Instagram too, is just the community and watching other people. And there are some girls that I follow that are doing gymnastics right now as adults and trying that out. And I'm like, that looks
Yes.
fun. I want to do that. I haven't done that since I was a kid. So all the ideas, right?
Yes. Yes. That's so, a couple of things are just kind of pinging in my mind. One is I have often asked my clients, what did you enjoy as a child?
Mm,
What did you
yeah.
enjoy playing? And it can look slightly different when you're older, because I'm over 50 now. And so we're not necessarily going to be doing the same level of gym. I'm not going to get on a big bar and do
Yeah.
gymnastics because I'm not
Right.
a pro. But it can, there are so many things now that you can do that still kind of bring that fun to movement. And when things are fun and enjoyable, you're more likely to do them. You're more likely to keep going, because the key barrier, well, one of the key things with movement is moving the body is consistency and committing to it and doing it. So if it's fun, if it's enjoyable, it's easier to keep going.
Yeah.
I was listening to a station in the radio, and there was, I can't remember where it was, but it was somewhere in Australia, and they had a ballet class for all ages.
Okay.
So people were going in their 60s and learning ballet, and obviously it's going to be looking different than if you're like 6
Yeah.
or 10. But I thought it was just, and yeah, just amazing. So anyway, that brought it, yeah. And going back and rollerblading, I would not do that. But I've even seen you hiking, and like, it just also looks like you're having great fun.
Yeah. I'm willing to try anything. I say I'll try anything twice, which is kind of a joke, but also I feel
Yeah,
like we only have one life to live, so
yeah,
why not just try everything?
yes,
And obviously try to be careful because, like you
yeah,
said, as you get older, like I'm afraid to injure myself. I don't want to
yes,
hurt
yes.
myself. But yeah, I want to try everything. And I'm a little bit competitive. And so then I want to get better at it. So, like hiking, for example, I've been walking, I can walk 7 miles, say, without, and I just love it. But hiking is a different challenge for me. It's harder, right?
Mm,
And I'm like, I can walk all day long, but the second you throw in some incline, and
mm.
I'm like huffing and puffing. So then the competitive side of me comes out, and I'm like, all right, I want to do this again next weekend, and I want to do it a little bit better. I want to do it a little
Yeah.
bit faster or
Yeah.
recover faster.
I love that, because it's like you are working just to go from where you are to the next step.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is really important, because everyone's going to start off their ability to move after their bariatric surgery at a different ability level.
Yep.
And also your age and your physicality and all those other things are going to affect how much and what you can do, but it doesn't mean you can't move forward. And I just want to put in, if you are venturing into movement after having bariatric surgery and you've got some physical challenges, you've got some pains, anything like that, it's really great to see your primary care provider and see what support you can get to be able to go into movement safely. So whether it might be
Mhm.
an exercise physiologist, somebody that helps you move your body in a way that you really enjoy, that is not going to cause you any more pain, and it's going to, I just thought pop that in there,
Yeah.
because some people are like, okay, well, they're talking about climbing in canyons and things, and I'm like, that's not, we're not there. This is your own journey. You can look. We all get into comparison online, and that's the downside a bit, I think, of social media, is we can look and say they're doing that and they had surgery. Someone else may have had surgery in 2020, and they might be going, well, I can't do that, and I didn't lose that. You do you, and you just go like, how do I move forward? How do I keep taking steps forward towards my goals? So it
Yeah.
can look different. But I'd love to dig into a little bit,
About staying consistent.
because you're now in maintenance,
Hmm.
okay? And I've been talking quite a bit about how maintenance can be the hardest stage for many people, because the scale isn't going down all the time. You might not be getting compliments all the time anymore. All of those
Yeah.
things in the early days. And then you get to that point where actually can go up, the scales can go up.
Yeah.
And yeah, and all of these, you're doing little smiles. So I think you understand what I'm talking about. How do you, Bailey, keep yourself in your zone and keep yourself, you said you do the work. And yeah, I'd love to hear, how do you keep yourself on your journey, on your own track?
Yeah. I mean, and this is something that I'm dealing with right now because I maintained for a couple of years. And I would say I was doing all the habits that I had built right after surgery, and I was staying active. And then, kind of slowly, maybe some of those bad habits came back. I've always considered myself like an emotional eater. And so when I'm feeling intense emotions, or just stress from work or whatever, then I start to lean towards food again, which had been my crutch for many years, most of my adult life.
Mm.
And so I've been kind of in the process of reeling it back in because I have seen the scale go up a little bit and I'm like, no, no. I mean, I've worked way too hard for this. I can't go backwards. And that's where the quote that you mentioned that I put up about the movement being as effective as antidepressants, because I was feeling like I was having a hard time, and I was stressed at work and I was having all these things going on, and I was feeling like, is there something that I need to help me kind of get out of this, because I don't want to feel like this. I was just feeling really down and kind of like
Mm,
just like nothing was going my way. And I realized that I had not been moving consistently. I had kind of let that go by the wayside. I was busy, I was stressed, I was
mm,
tired. And so I was prioritizing other things over movement.
mm,
And when I saw that stat, I was like, okay, let me try this first before I go down any other path, before I go talk to the doctor about medications or any other alternatives.
mm,
And so that just hit me right between the eyes. And I was like, all right, we're doing it. And I have consistently made an effort to do that. So that's kind of a side note. But
mm.
getting back to the basics, kind of like my non-negotiables: vitamins, protein first, water, movement every day. Just those things
Mm.
are kind of what keep me on track
Yeah,
and are what are helping me stay on track moving forward.
beautiful. Love it. I don't know, but you've taken my thoughts and you've just. I talk all about my clients having for the maintenance those non-negotiables. So having those
Yeah.
key things that I say all the time, the habits that get you the best result from your bariatric surgery are the same habits you want to keep practicing. And the word you've used, I've got a quote that you actually shared in your Instagram because it was like just really spoke to me because I talk a lot about habits. It's about building habits that just keep you in your zone. Are you going to go off track at some point? Yes, because you're human.
Mhm.
Life pushes us off track. As you said, all the things, and things can come up, and family and work, and do it all at the same time. But you come back to, and I get my clients to actually have them written down. What are their non-negotiables? Because often when you do a couple of key things, other things fall into place. So you do your exercise and you do your water and your protein and you feel good and you sleep better. And that helps your
Yep.
resilience and helps you manage the stressful situations. So it's not about focusing like diets on doing 20 things. It's about a few key things. And the example I give also is we're not approaching the bariatric journey like a diet, which it's a new lifestyle, and habits are
Mhm.
super key because when we do habits regularly, they become less effortful. There's less effort. But I'd love to read the quote that you shared, Bailey, by F.M. Alexander. People do not decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their
Yeah.
futures. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. And before I will stop talking in a minute, I often will talk to my clients and we really get to even weighing less often because weight is a lag measure. What we want to focus
Mm.
more on are those habits that drive the result that we want. We can get really wrapped up in what the scale says. And yes, we can keep an eye on it. We want to keep an eye on it. But we also want to be good at picking ourselves up and going back to those habits if we start kind of wanting to spiral. Like you said, you felt like there's nothing going my way and what do I do? And I feel
Mhm.
down. I don't want to lose all the benefits I've got. And so, yeah, no, totally everything you said, I was like, yeah, yeah, my head. She's in my head. No, that's really wonderful. When it comes to your activity, do you set yourself a number of episodes a week to do activity, or do you say every day I've got to do something? How do you put that kind of plan in place for your movement?
I plan to do something daily, even if it's just a quick 20 minutes. I find that for me, I just need it every day as far as general movement. Like strength training or weightlifting, I say 3 times a week. Like, and that gives me some flexibility around work or a busy day or something. But my goal is always to do something daily because I know that keeps me on track and that keeps the momentum builds and it keeps me rolling to the next day. And I find if I stop or if I take a day, it turns into a couple days. And then for me,
Mm.
that's where I have problems.
Okay, beautiful. because activity can look, the amount and the length of time and everything can look very different for different people. And also what I do say to my clients as well, especially when you're starting, we start slowly. The dieting mentality, and often people will enter their bariatric journey with a very much a dieting mentality, which I talk a lot about, and I work at breaking that dieting mentality of I've got to go 4 times a week next week and from a no activity. Let's just start with once. Let's get that going. Let's just build it nice and slowly. Because we all know the stories of we've all done it, overdone it, can't walk for 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been there.
We've all done it. So, yeah, I've got funny, just this vision popped in my head, and it's going to show my age. Going to the gym and doing the grapevine, and I was like, it was in the 80s. I wore lycra bike pants and then the lycra leotard over the top.
I love it.
So, yeah, anyway, so that's definitely showing my age of, yeah, like you get in there and you overdo it, and it's not a great experience doing it and also after. So we want to go nice and slowly because also we want to avoid any injuries. So small steps forward are better than huge, big steps forward because we're going to be able to maintain those small steps.
Yeah.
And I know you agree with me because you had another post that I didn't even write down where you talked about those little incremental steps. Bailey, have you read Atomic Habits? Is that a book?
Yes.
You read? Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, I talk about that all the time. Wonderful. Now, I had another question that's gone from my mind. I was going to ask, oh, actually, I'll stop. Was there something you were going to say? Okay.
No.
I was going to ask, so with respect to movement for you going forward, do you have any like big goals? Are you somebody that has a goal to, I know have you run a half?
I did a half last year.
Beautiful. And what was that experience like for you?
I loved it. I didn't train as much as I wanted to. So my goal for the first one was just to finish it. Just plain and simple, sign up and do it, which I did. So I completed that goal. I loved the race energy. Everybody out there, you're out there super early. It was all women. So just women. And so I loved all of it. I loved the actual race. I want to be a runner so bad, but I realized recently that I don't know why. Just because like I think it's cooler than walking, but I love to walk.
Yes.
And so I'm like, why am I making myself do this when it is so unnatural for me? And it felt like a big goal that I wanted to accomplish. And as soon as it was over, I'm like, I'm signing up for the next one. This is awesome. I loved it. I loved the race day energy. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do another one.
Yeah.
I kind of, that is my honest opinion about that. I loved doing it. I loved completing it.
Yes.
But I have to really force myself to run. I have run at different times in my life, but I'm not a natural runner. It's hard for me. I don't really enjoy it. So TBD on the any more races in the future or running. I mean, it was a great experience. I'm super glad I did it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it again.
And that's what I kind of comes to. If you don't like love doing something, you've got to have a really key reason why you would. I think you said in the beginning you'd try anything twice. So maybe, and after that you hang up your running shoe.
Yeah.
Often people think when you said, oh, it's cooler than walking. Walking is so cool. Often people think walking's not enough. You can walk at a great pace. You can walk up inclines. Walking is low impact. It's great there's a lot of help. If you want to read, you can Google and read the research on the health benefits of walking. And then talking about mental health, but even physical. So there's nothing wrong with walking, Bailey.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I have been thinking that. And truly, I think I've just probably been told, or like someone in my life has said like, hey, you're walking all the time, you should start running, like really like try to amp it up a little bit or something. And so then I have tried Thank you for saying that because I love walking. I don't love running.
Yeah.
So,
You honor yourself. You do what's right for you. You do what you enjoy.
yeah.
I'm not a runner. And I see people on Instagram doing like they've gone from being really sedentary, they've had their bariatric surgery, and I think amazing. And how cool are you? And you can just, and then yeah, you think, oh. It's a bit like after I saw, I don't know, they came out, there was like this big tap dancing thing in the 90s. I don't know if it was this musical, and I went and got tap shoes and started and did a tap dancing lesson.
Yeah.
And I was like 20 or something like that. Anyway, so I was inspired. But was it my passion for long term? No, I haven't done anything since then. But it was, I was inspired. So I think that kind of can be a little bit of it. But I think try it, and if you don't love it, it's honouring yourself and doing what you love. And it really is so common. I'll have a client say, yes, I need to go to the gym. And I say to them, do you like going to the gym? And they're like, no, I don't like going to the gym. I don't enjoy it, but I know I have to. And I'm like, well, actually, do you have to? Let's talk about other things. What's in your community? Is there a dance class? Zumba. You have Zumba, don't you? Do you use the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zumba. Actually, and all different types of classes and swimming and so many different things you can do and activities, lawn bowl, whatever. You can do things. You don't have to go to the gym. So let's brainstorm and let's try things and let's be open-minded. And as I said before, what did you like doing as a child? That can indicate things. One of my girlfriends, though, has this, we just laugh because she, in gym class, or we call it PE or sport, she would hide in the change room. She hated moving her body. This is at school. She hated moving her body so much. She's never been that. Anyway, and I'm laughing, but people are going to be on here listening and saying, yeah, Jane, that was me.
Yeah.
Because often people say, I don't like moving my body. And when you're heavier and holding a lot of weight on your frame, it's really uncomfortable. It is hard. You are, to even walk, you're doing what the equivalent work that someone else kind of sprinting would be doing. You know, and going upstairs. So as you lose weight, it becomes easier, but also the feedback, the pleasure hormones from moving the body become greater. So it's around kind of making small steps. It might be riding your bike with your children and going to the park and kicking the ball around and doing things like that can be really enjoyable, but they're getting movement in the body. So I'm totally on board for yourself. And this is your journey. This is no one else's.
Yeah.
Trying things, being open, because life can look quite different. And I talk, this is even from a food perspective. You can enjoy foods after bariatric surgery that you didn't enjoy before, and vice versa. So all of that. So thank you for that. That's really lovely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think just because you see somebody else in the gym on Instagram doesn't mean that needs to be your form of exercise or movement. Totally individualized, and find something that you enjoy. I think, like you said earlier, that you're going to continue to do, because consistency, right?
Definitely. And as I said before, the research really supports regular movement is really important to help with weight maintenance after bariatric surgery. So yeah, and even just I'm not going to drive the car to the supermarket or the market. I'm going to take my bags and walk the 3 blocks or what. So it's all of that, taking the stairs at work, all of that. Susie Girl has asked, and this is a question for me, do we take vitamins, there we go, for the rest of our lives after sleeve surgery? Yes, Susie, and I'll explain why. Your anatomy's changed, and how you utilise and absorb your nutrients has changed. The basic regime after having a sleeve is a good bariatric multi and then a calcium, and often that's got some vitamin D in it, okay? And that's what I do with my clients. It's in line with the American different guidelines, because we follow the American guidelines in Australia. Yeah, we don't have our own bariatric guidelines in Australia. Yeah. I'm a very big advocate for keeping vitamin supplementation as simple as you need. And then we do regular pathology. And after 2 years, it's every year, even if you're feeling like $1 million, even if you're feeling wonderful, you still get your bloods done. And that just checks if things are roughly the same, if they're going up, they're going down. because you can take a couple of years for a deficiency to pop up. So many people say, I stopped taking my vitamins. 3 months later, I went for my pathology. Everything's great. I don't need them. But it's actually more the long term. Basic malt, good bariatric multi, calcium, and they have extra vitamin D. And if your pathology shows you need more things like maybe iron, B12 or folate or anything like that, you can put them in. So it's not about taking 6 different things. It's really, for me, about keeping it as simple as possible. It's also good for not spending as much money, but no one wants to be taking 6 tablets a day for the rest of their life if they don't have to. Some of the more, this is just anyone listening with those more significant bypasses, we can need more vitamins than that. But from a sleeve, that I just thought I'd answer that. So in the US, you've got a lot of wonderful, good vitamins you have access to.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Anything you'd love to add, Bailey, or any questions before we jump off? Because I think it's really given, hopefully, people something to.
I feel like we could keep talking.
We could just
keep on going, but thank you.
Yeah.
It has been a lovely chat. And also for anyone that doesn't know me, feel free to pop over to my page. My DMs are always open. I'll always answer, and I'm always happy to share my experience. And so thank you for doing this. I'm so glad we were able to.
No, thank you so much. And your feed is very inspirational. It's real.
Thank you.
But it's also that inspirational, like when you see somebody, okay, they're struggling at some point, but they're doing this to get out of it, or they're sharing just really honestly, I think is beautiful. Oh, we've got a question. Okay. You might not be getting away yet. What time is it for you actually?
It's 6:12 at night, PM.
Okay, good. Yeah. Do you get food boredom? I don't know, Gypsy, Jewel. Is that for, well, that could be from either of us. I can answer from a dietitian, but first, Bailey, do you get food boredom?
I'm assuming this means like sick of eating the same things. I personally don't. I don't mind. I'll eat the same thing for dinner 3 nights in a row, or I'll take my lunch to work and I'll prep it and have the same thing, or I'll eat it for lunch and dinner. I'm not too picky about food in that way, but I know that that's some people do have that.
Yeah, and that's true. And I find people need a different levels of variety. That's super key. Some people, yes, are like, I can eat dinner, the same thing for 2 nights in a row, that's fine. Other people are like, no way, I can't do that. If we're looking at the beginning of the bariatric journey from having surgery and going through the dietary stages, I find the 2 to 4 month mark is a really common time that people get stuck. They get stuck on, and I'm just, whenever I get a question, I always like to answer it really kind of big from all different angles, and then I'll get kind of further down the track. But they get stuck because, and I don't know if Gypsy Jewel, this is you, that, okay, well, I finished my dietary stages, I'm going to know these foods settle well and this works well, but I don't know how to kind of get new foods in and vary it, and I'm worried about how I feel and overeating or just things not settling, and then they really feel really bored and stuck in this low variety. The goal after bariatric surgery is to get as much variety as you need, because also a varied diet's a healthy diet. And we want crunch, and we want sweetness, and we want salty, and we want to feel that other options if you want to have different options in your diet. And that's something I do a lot with my clients. We develop personalised meal and snack lists, so they know exactly what and we build on that. Over time, we need to build more variety, but enough variety. But it might also be that you have something for a while and you just go off it. And then a few months later, you think, oh, I'd like to have that again. I'm a big fan of having things written down, and that helps keep enough variety in the diet. So yes, it can definitely be part of it. And Gypsy Jewel said, yes, protein shakes are hard to get down. Shakes are not everyone. Okay, so I'm thinking you might be in the early days. They are not everyone's favourite, but they are really useful. It is so much easier to drink your protein than eat it. And until you can comfortably eat all the protein and energy you need, we need to drink some shakes. There's so many different ways of making shakes up, flavours, temperatures, consistencies, of really working to find what works best for you, because everyone's really different. Some people are used to having shakes and smoothies and things before surgery, so it's not something that's really that new to them, but other people, it's just not something that they'd normally have. So that can be worked on, okay? Temperature, flavors, all of that. And other ways we can pull those down quite to a smaller, we want to make sure they're not too big. There's other ways then we can get protein in without being high volume. So it makes it easier to reach your protein goal. But it's very common to get stuck at that 2 to 4 month mark. Did you relate to what I was?
That's what I was going to say is I think it's very common to get sick of protein shakes because you've maybe had them as pre-op and then it's all you can have right after surgery. And so, yes, that's very common I hear that all the time, that people can't even look at a certain type of shake because it's like all they had for a month or something. And like you said, there's so many different kinds, different flavors, different brands that have different things. So yes, if you're in that stage, I would just recommend trying some different things too, just so you don't get sick of the same one kind all the time.
Definitely, yeah. And dietitians have a name for that. It's called taste fatigue. I mean, we have to have a name for things, but it is. It's like you taste something for the first time. You're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And you go out and buy 10. People are like, oh, the 10 of it. And then by the 4th one, you're like, I've gone all over this. So even if you love something, we still want variety. But I find with shakes, temperature can be really important as well. And we can get proffies into your diet if coffee is something you really want. So yeah, it's a challenge. But luckily now, compared to the old days, there's a lot of options on the market. And it is, about being, I think, open to trying different things. So yeah, beautiful. Do you still have protein shakes in your diet sometimes?
I do. Yeah.
What ones do you like I don't know, we don't know where Gypsy Jewel is, but you're in the US.
Yeah. I like the Premier Protein, the cafe latte. I have been drinking that since surgery. It's like coffee flavored. It has a little bit of caffeine in it, and I love it. I could still drink one of those a day. The brand Legion has a lot of different flavors that are really good. I have one that is banana bread flavored.
Oh, wow.
So that's just kind of a fun, different one. There's another brand, First Form, that I like. They have lots of different flavors. I've tried the Flav City. They also have a coffee flavored one and like a vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. So yeah, I've tried a ton. I've tried a lot of bariatric ones too, but I've kind of settled on still enjoying just a few different kinds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then this is the same advice I give when people are looking to finding a protein bar. Buy one of each flavor that sound good to you and try them, because someone loves one thing. And I went through this for years. I'd have protein bars in my office, and one person would walk in and go, I love that. And the next one would walk in and go, that is revolting. Like, bad. So I always say, because people say, what's a good protein bar? I say, I give up telling you what you're going to enjoy. I'll give you the guidelines for choosing a good one, and then you're going to try them. So beautiful. And it's also what you loved before surgery. You may not have the same taste buds after. Did you experience that, Bailey? Can you remember that? I mean, I know it's a little bit of a time ago.
Yeah. I don't have anything that sticks out in my mind like that, but I have heard people talk about completely different.
Yes.
And that's wild to me.
Yes. There can be some grief with that. And I know that's a big word in some ways, but there's loving coffee and coffee being, or some food being someone's really attached to, and then it just doesn't taste good. And then overnight, you really feel like your life has just changed. And your anatomy has, but your brain hasn't, and there'll be a lot of adjustment. But I do say, people say, before surgery, I don't like that food, Well, could we just have a teaspoon? Just try it. Yeah. And so that's what I definitely encourage. And so that's what I would say when you're choosing like a shake, you're just trying different flavors and thinking this is experiment and all of that. So beautiful. I'd love to ask you, as we're wrapping up, Bailey, why did you decide to start an Instagram? Did you start it from day one of having?
No.
Okay.
wanted a separate account that I could watch other people on. And I wanted it separate from my personal account that I had had.
Mm.
And so I made this account simply to watch other people, and in a not weird way, but just
Yeah.
as an inspiration to watch other people's journeys. And when I started looking into surgery and I had gone to a meeting,
Mm.
it was all older people. And I felt like the youngest person.
Mm.
And I won't even get into the is there something wrong with me
Mm.
feelings. But so I went to Instagram and YouTube and I kind of just started looking
Mm.
around. And there
Mm.
were a couple girls who were my age and
Mm.
they had either just had surgery or were early in their journeys. And I felt so connected. And I felt like, okay, so I'm not the only one
Mm.
who is this younger going through this, right?
Mm.
And so I never intended on posting anything. I just wanted
Mm.
to watch. I just wanted inspiration and I just wanted ideas and I wanted to be able to see other people sharing their journeys.
Mm.
And it wasn't for several months, maybe even close to a year, that I actually decided to post. It was when I finally felt confident enough in how I
Mm.
looked to post a picture of myself. And I have never looked back. Now I'm like, all right, we're here. I'm going to share all of it because I was so inspired by the women who were doing it. And so if one person can look at my page and think, oh, we're about the same age and about the same starting weight, look at what she's been able to do, then I've already had that. So I feel super lucky
Yeah.
to have had that
Beautiful.
experience.
Yeah. And I think that sharing it all and sharing, I love the pages, the Instagram that are sharing the ups and the downs,
Mhm.
keeping it real, because it really is, or just sharing. You might not be feeling it today, you might not be feeling it, but you're still going to do it. And just, it helps other people, yeah, not feel alone. And that's one of the lovely things about the social media. So
Yeah.
beautiful. And you're certainly not by yourself being a young, gorgeous woman having surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, lovely. There are wonderful things about Instagram because that's how we met. And this is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll message you after this, but we're going to keep in touch. And just really appreciate your generosity in sharing your story and how exercise is helping you. And yeah, I think we've had a lovely chat and touched on some really great points. And I really appreciate it, Bailey.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, I'll let you go and I'll be in touch. Thank you
Yes.
so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you so much for listening to this point. Thank you so much for your support. It's really wonderful when I get comments and feedback. I really love it. And I get people reaching out to me and applying to work with me and saying, Jane, I've listened to your podcast. Let's have a chat or let's talk further and see if you're the right person for me. And that's wonderful. But thank you so much for getting to this point in this podcast. I hope you found some value. And I really look forward to being back in your ears next week.